network TV spanning 22 years. Saturday Night Wrestling at WOAY ran for 23.
Live from the TV Lanes Auditorium here at Channel 4, it's Saturday Night Wrestling.
You all remember the words, but has it been so long that you've forgotten the excitement? Well, get ready to have a body slamming, head blocking, bone crunching good time, because we're going back nearly half a century when Saturday night wasn't complete without a little of this. Shirley Love was the voice thousands counted on hearing.
It's the step over toe hold by Diamond Jim, and he has the advantage.
I was the little, sort of the frail announcer that the bad guy would call me pencil neck. You know, they'd say, well, you pencil neck announcer. You know, I was real skinny back then.
You know them all: Gypsy Joe, Ace Freeman, the Mountaineer, and Jan Madrid.
Idolized Jan Madrid. I still do. I respect the man to the uttermost.
And you can't leave out those lovely lady wrestlers like Darling Pat Sherry or Slave Girl Moolah. Jerry and Carlos Cozart remember it like yesterday.
And my dad would get really excited, and one time he had a pop bottle and a pocket knife, and he says, I'll get up here and wrestle with you, you know. He says, I've got my pop bottle and my pocket knife, you know.
I can still feel it in my bones today. It just makes you get nervous. It makes you just like nervous as a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs.
The show was the hottest ticket in southern West Virginia for 23 years. It even included some unusual talent that often ended up on the announcer's back.
Little midgets were piling on Shirley's back. They wanting to go for a piggyback, I reckon.
Saturday Night Wrestling first aired on WOAY Channel 4 in November of 1954. It continued to draw crowds from all over, but in 1977, wrestling as you knew it got pinned. The main studio of WOAY burned, and the auditorium used for wrestling transformed into the news studio.
That was just the same as telling us when President Kennedy got killed.
Nearly 23 years since the Cuban assassin set foot inside the WOAY wrestling ring. Those days are gone, but the legacy lives on.
There's the man. But all at once.
Wrestling for 29-year-old Richie Acevedo began at birth.
If it wasn't Saturday Night Wrestling, I would never been born.
His father, the Cuban assassin, was the Saturday Night Wrestler fans loved to hate.
I remember one old lady from Umbrella always wanted to hit Dad every time when she was at the ringside. And she was always there, always, you know, just on up a storm. And I can't say what she said, of course, but she would call my dad a lot of names.
They say, like father, like son. Not only is Richie a dead ringer for the 225-pound bearded assassin, he's a wrestler, too.
Only a few pounds lighter and about 30 years younger, the Cuban assassin number 2 can slam him just as hard as the original.
I learned every single wrestling hold professionally, and anything that's inventive or new from my father trained me about 10 years ago, but I learned everything from him. And everything that he does from the old WOY Saturday Night Wrestling days, it's the same type of wrestling that I do to this very day.
The popularity of wrestling spans decades. Fans from back then are still ringside shouting support for a new generation.
He looks just like his dad when I was watching him wrestle. So I'll come out and watch the Cuban assassin wrestle again, from young until he gets old, too.
This father-son tag team even has their own gig. The Cuban assassin and number 2 frequently work together in Canada. While the duo is separated for a short time, Richie continues his own career, but Dad is always with him, from those army green fatigues to the black boots.
I want to continue the Cuban fashion legacy. I want people to know that even though my father may not be here from WOY wrestling days, but yet they can still see the Cuban assassin still lives on through, you know, wrestling, you know, because I'm here currently, you know, wrestling in the area, and I do the same style of wrestling people seen in the Saturday Night Wrestling days.
The older assassin remains in Canada, where he is a member of the Wrestling Hall of Fame.
I caught up with 2 well-known veterans of Saturday night, and I got a chance to see through their eyes what those wild nights were like.
Louis Torres has a different spin on life these days. 33 years ago, he was riding a wave of popularity known to Saturday Night Wrestlers as Chief Black Eagle.
From Tucson,
years old, he was just stepping into the ring. By the time he made it to WOAY, he was the chief with all the power. Wow. Now, many years later, he can still pump it out. But no longer in a ring. Those days have become fond memories.
Oh yeah, when people making me mad, I do the war dance, I go crazy, and the people, woo, up in the air. I start dancing, I threw the guy to the rope and gave me a shot. I flashed the guy. 1, 2, 3.
With a slip of the headdress, more memories come back. Although this was a happy time for the chief, this ring will be the only one he'll be getting his hands on. He's passing down his tribal feathers to a little Indian, his grandson.
Another Saturday night wrestler was Black Diamond. Like Chief Black Eagle, he settled in Beckley and remembers the matches like yesterday.
Yeah, that's me there. Saturday night was the night. Saturday night, a lot of men's wives come to the wrestling matches. Everybody just had a good time on Saturday night.
The diamond used to sparkle then, and he still shines brightly today. Even at 66, he still has all the right moves.
Good thing, man.
Since the diamond, also known as Herbert Simpson, was a West Virginia coal miner, he named one of his famous moves after a mining expression.
Flip him over when he set up on his rump. Come up behind and stick your hands up under his legs and put your rump down on his neck and bend his neck over like that, what I call a killer-bottom drop.
Whether it be the killer-bottom drop or the double chop, Chief Black Eagle and Black Diamond, along with other WOAY wrestlers, will live in the hearts of the true fans of live Saturday Night Wrestling. It's been 23 years, but the names still ring a bell.
Pete Gerald, the referee, and the bell, and here we go with Dan Christian.
Seeing those familiar faces brings back good times and a part of West Virginia culture that will live forever.
For one reason or the other, it was everyone's Saturday night opera.
Fans pinned their hopes on their favorite grappler and cheered them on to victory. Their excitement from the matches often caused sparks.
In the heat of the excitement, a lot of the fans would throw out some 3-4 letter words that once in a while they would get on the air. We tried to keep from it, but that happened a lot of times.
Like Chief Black Eagle, most of the Saturday night wrestlers weren't originally from the area, but the Mountain State hospitality made a lasting impact.
West Virginia is so beautiful state. The people so nice to me. I'm making my home here almost 30 years here.
He said that he was so mean and ugly that when he was a boy, his mother had to hang a bone around his neck before the dog would play with him.
And for the native whose voice led all the Saturday night matchups, the excitement will never be forgotten.
And some of the funny incidents that happened in between, I could probably write a book about. I'm sure a lot of folks looking in will remember, some of the various incidents that happened, because it was all live and it was spontaneous, and you just didn't know what one was going to say.
Though it's been over 2 decades, people are still talking about